going on, everybody? All right, who's ready for some crazy panel action?
Woo!
We set the ground rules on the back. The ground rules are there are no rules. Just say whatever's on our mind, no flowing. Everything's good, we're going. Really excited to get this panel started. We got amazing people, 3 of the most amazing people that I know. Thank you guys for being here. I wanted to start off, and I just did anyone get certified this morning? I just got a text message with the stats, so we got 43 folks Legend certified. Any Legend folks in the room? For those of you who don't know, it's the hardest level to get certified. Every year I take it. I just keep coming back. We got 13 MVP and 27 All-Stars. So congratulations to everybody who's certified. Really awesome. Thank you guys. All right, so let's just jump into this. So I'd love for you 3 to tell us a couple things. So your name would be good and the company you work for. I'd love to know your goals. So how do you get your big bonus check at the end of the year? And your team structure. So I have content teams, I have this, I've managed people, where you fit in the organization. And let's start with that.
Cool. I'm Garth O'Brien. I work at GoDaddy. I've been here about 2 years, 2 years tomorrow, I think. Goals for us is revenue, especially through organic, and I've kind of extended my tentacles into other areas, social a little bit as well. That comes with it, obviously, traffic, conversions, and then the money. It's weird. I've been bounced around because I'm the shiny object. I showed them a couple years ago when I first started out where they were missing traffic and spotlight and search engine results. And so that moved me under content. I used to be in e-commerce. Now I'm kind of in content, and I help drive the content strategy.
Cool. Can you guys hear Garth okay? No. Can
No.
you get a little bit more juice back there? It's what? Oh, face it in the mouth.
All right.
There you go. Try it again.
All right.
Should we run it one more time? All right,
okay. Garth O'Brien at GoDaddy. Joined there 2 years ago. Our goals are revenue. And usually that comes with more traffic and better landing pages and better content. I showed them where they were missing big gaps in content and visibility, and that moved my entire team under content. So I work with 2 others really that drive the content strategy for GoDaddy Global.
Cool. One more question. Scale of 1 to 3. How bought in is your leadership? 3 being the most bought in, 1 being
2.5.
All right. Decimals
a
work.
lot believe in it and see the numbers, and we've actually done proof of concept. Some still are. They have a lot of learning to do, but they're willing to learn, and no one says no.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, Missi, tell us your situation.
Thank you. So let's see. I need to adjust. Missi Carmen. I'm now over at VKids. Thank you very much. VKids is a holding company for who I'm promoting today. So I'm representing Time for Learning, Time for Writing, Vocabulary, Spelling City, Science for Us. As far as the goals of myself for the team, I am also the shiny object, which is why they pulled me in to take over all of SEO for the entire organization, all of the ancillary sites, to increase our subscriptions year over year by 30%. I'm shooting for 40%. And also to increase our sales within charter schools and within public schools as well. So it's going to be a lot of brand awareness, but also product demonstrations. Where I sit, I create my own roles at a lot of companies that I've been with, so I can sit wherever I want, work with whoever I want. I just need to know who they are. So I work with the content teams, I work with the developers, I work with an amazing team of designers and gamers. It's a really great organization to work with. As far as the CEO and buy-in, he's a 3. He is an early SEO adopter. He has been in education software space for 30 years and loves everything about SEO and content. So I'm very lucky to be working with him.
Great. God bless you. Mr. John?
John Schulenberg. Can you guys hear me okay? Good?
Can you hear him okay? More juice.
All right, let me make sure I'm pointed here. How's that?
We have a microphone problem on this team.
You need to look down.
There you go. All right, we'll try that.
Double chin it.
I'll try to speak loudly. John Schulenberg, come from Intuit. I lead the SEO content marketing team for small business, which is the part of Intuit that is mainly the QuickBooks product. and all the payroll and payments offerings that they provide. My goals are also revenue. We have aggressive goals when it comes to not just revenue, but overall user growth. I sit within an acquisition team inside marketing. There's two parts of the organization, acquisition marketing and customer marketing. And so I lead all of the content marketing from operations to production, all of our technical SEO. My team's about 14 people right now. And we're also a 3 on buy-in. But what comes with that is very high expectations on moving the needle forward constantly. I think we're up for the challenge. I think my team has, we've been actually surprised how much buy-in we've actually had over the last couple years, and for the first time really having opportunity to scale the strategies that we know can work, that I think we all know we can do if given the opportunity. So it's been a good experience. I've been at Intuit for a little over 3 years.
Cool. So let's just start to go deep for a moment. So I guess maybe we'll start with you. So when you started at Intuit, your team was what, 2 or 3 people? Pretty small. Right. So what's been the biggest challenge for you to get from where you are to where you're from and where you are? And tell us how you did it. Yeah,
when I joined, it was just a website where you buy QuickBooks. There was no content whatsoever. 95% of all search came from branded search. And we kind of went on this journey to educate my executives around what it means to be able to show up for issues that we know small businesses were having. And so we set on a mission to build a content production operation, and that has been ongoing. It's taken us a long time to get there, but I think now, I think overall just tying the opportunity, being able to speak the language of, hey, how does this ultimately impact traffic? How can this ultimately impact user acquisition in a positive way, and putting the right messaging in front of them to say, hey, this is really needed. Just as an example, we were kind of maxed out on our traffic capability from a brand perspective. We dominated brand terms. So it was like, okay, well, how am I going to grow traffic 35% year over year? Okay, well, we're going to have to create content to do that. And so we have a content resource center on QuickBooks.com called the QuickBooks Resource Center, funny enough. But it's where all of our non-branded content goes, and it's actually opened up the door for us to do a lot more things through that. Not just a blog, but like an overall resource center, tools, white paper content, things like that. So
I know we've talked about common challenges. We talked about it this morning. Is getting leadership buy-in. All 3 of you talked about just getting more leadership buy-in, and you're fortunate that you have a lot of buy-in today. But that you in your careers you've had multiple levels of buy-in. Can you tell us, Missi? I'd love to hear an example about how you've been effective in getting that number from 1 to 2 to 3, and how have you been able to help get leadership to buy into what you're trying to do?
Sure. So I'm going to use the example from M&T Bank. I was there for almost 2 years. Wonderful organization who invested in me because they were getting ready to redesign a website, and they were told by the consultants that you need SEO. So they hunted me down, recruited me from another company, and said, we'll invest in you and the website and SEO. Now go do it. I was like, okay, great. In order for me to do that, old branded bank, we're going to need to change the way you call things, call products, call services. Oh, no, we can't do that. That's not going to pass compliance. I'm sorry. You're just going to need to make traffic happen and increase our credit applications and checking account closings. I'm like, okay, no, we're going to need to talk about how I can update the content, change the way that you think, show the impact, and then drive that incremental whatever it's going to be. So it took a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and I chose just one product and how I could work with that one product, that one team, change the name of the product by listening to what was going on within search. I chose to work with the consumer loans team and work with personal loans versus car loans. They kept calling it auto loans. And I'm like, I don't go buy an auto, over here. I said, what do people actually buy? They buy cars. I know it sounds so small and so minute, but we've heard it all day today. Start with one little thing, one little project, snowball it, and then let it roll down the hill. So I chose to update the website, update the email messaging, also update some of the printed materials, and just change everything from the word auto to car. And by doing that, not only did we see a 36% increase in 25 days for car loan applications and submissions, but leadership was so bought into that they led me to sit down at the table with the rest of the website content developers and all of the stakeholders and said, Missi, what should we call this? What should we call this line of business? What should we call this line of business? So by showing them the rewards of one little thing, and it didn't take me very long, but one little thing made a lot of movement.
They started coming to you?
Coming to me. Yep.
Cool.
And
So,
legal teams.
Have you guys ever tried that? Change I shared this morning. Just change one word. I mean, it's such a powerful thing to do, and I just would, if you haven't, just go think about that one word and what it could be, because it really makes a big difference. I don't know, Garth or John, do you have any, just to take that tangent for a second, any stories around just changing words, customer words, internal words? Love to hear those.
Yeah, I mean, I call it assumed knowledge. I've been in and out of Microsoft for 6 years as a full-time contractor and through the agency where they're a client. They're so engineer-driven, and it's like, I call my product this. It's like, that's great. But outside the Redmond campus, no one else calls it that. So you have to show them constantly, like, look, here's your search volume. And one example was Xbox 360 shipped with a default drive. The drive was going to die the day you bought it or within a year, but it was going to die. And their help site, they hate people calling in. They just want you to go to the site, get the question answered, don't call in, it costs a lot of money. And so I showed them, I go, look, the gamer community has a different language. I've been one since Pong. They called it the red ring of death because when the drive failed, this nice little red circle popped up. They liked Air 74. I'm like, no one is searching Air 74. And the gamer community also adopted the acronym RROD. So I went to the support site. I go, look, Air 74, like 50 people a month are searching for this. RROD, red ring of death.
They all work at Microsoft.
Yeah. You're looking at, hundreds of thousands of people. And when you look at the search results, and I showed them this, the first 100 results were forums and blog posts of them being eviscerated. I hate Xbox, screw Microsoft, I'm buying PlayStation X. I said, just give me one bloody article that says red ring of death, because Microsoft was shipping the box back for free, fixing it for free, extending the warranty on it 2 years for free, and then shipping it to you for free. So they were making the customer whole. And they just simply refused because red ring of death was a negative.
Yeah. What about you, John?
I don't know that I have one for changing a word, but I would say at a category level, it was one of the most obvious things when I came to Intuit was there was no help content around using the product as a first-time user. So the term QuickBooks tutorials was this massive category in search, and like literally QuickBooks showed up nowhere. There was channels on YouTube, other businesses making money on QuickBooks training and tutorials. We just went out and just built a little WordPress subdomain. We were able to get it onto the main site to maintain the domain authority of QuickBooks.com, and put out like 16 fresh videos for new users on how to connect your bank, some simple stuff on how to use the product, and we took the category in 6 months. And it was just like a no-duh moment, but it demonstrated the organization like heavily focused on product, like, and missing those opportunities from a content perspective. At the time, they didn't have a content team, so there was no SEO saying, hey, we should probably look at this. So just
about invoicing, right? I mean, invoicing.
Yeah, invoicing too. I mean, and we may go into this, but like the common, thinking around keyword categories is, what is my main term, like that my product does? In my case, it's QuickBooks does invoicing. Well, semantically thinking in this day and age in search, it's like, what are the types of content that can solve a problem? So like in this case, it would be, how do I get paid on time? Which actually has a really significant amount of search volume attached to it. And it's not as top of funnel as you might think. It's not I need to re-engage and like 90 days later maybe they'll convert. It's like, no, how do I get paid on time? Well, we're going to show you how you get paid on time here's some great steps. Oh, and by the way, we have a product that actually does that pretty well for you, and here you go. So it's like semantically, SLI or semantic latex, whatever the search term is around. Don't worry about your core term. Think about the problems that you're solving with your product that align to the category essentially.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So let's go back to challenges, leadership buy-in, the struggle. The struggle is real. Garth, tell us like your biggest challenge right now.
Biggest challenge right now is.
How can I help you? We're all here.
You can't help. Analytics. We kind of built our own platform, so there's some challenges and definitions. But challenges to overcome it and get your company to start thinking, hey, we should actually invest in content, invest in YouTube. It's the second largest search engine in the world. Why aren't you there? I'm a recovering attorney. I practiced 7 years. I was the youngest in a law firm, and they said, you get to do digital. And so I learned digital. And I take my approach a lot with law. It's writing as IRAC, issue, rule, analysis, conclusion. So that's what I do. I get evidence, I find the issue, I get the rules spelled out, I give the analysis, and then here's the conclusion. And when you show them the data and you show them this framework of what the problem is, how am I going to solve it, why am I going to solve it in this manner, and what the expectation is, that quickly changes as well. And if you're at a company that, like what John just said, they had not a lot of content, it was all branded search, there's mammoth volume around your business and industry. You can answer millions of questions, especially for me, around domains, hosting, web security, online marketing, endless amount of questions that we can answer. And I showed them, I showed all my clients, even when I was working at the agency, I'd go to YouTube and type in some of their key terms, how to build a website. You pull up the first 10 results in YouTube, it's like, oh, there's 7-8 million views, and you're not here. These are like just randos, not even companies creating these videos. And I think then position 4, it was someone using GoDaddy to build a website. It's like, why aren't we there? Why aren't we showcasing our product? So you take that evidence and you show them the data and you explain why, and then proof of concept. You don't go big and build a whole new website. Show them a section or a series of articles, and once they see it pays off, now they buy in, and that's why our budget this year went up exponentially. We proved it in the last 2 years.
Sweet.
That's good.
So that makes me think about motivational tactics. So a lot of what you guys do, and the folks in the audience, is we're a very evangelical role, right? It's a part of our role. It has to be, right? We have to convince others. We have to make change happen. So tell me, do you believe in the carrot, or do you prefer the stick?
Carrot.
And give me an example. Do you have any good examples of using a carrot or using a stick, and what happened?
Yeah.
You hit them with the carrot and the stick?
Always go carrot first. I save the stick for last. Stick usually doesn't help. When it gets to the stick with me, people know that there's a lot of frustration. One of the best things we have at GoDaddy, Jeff Peterson, the VP of Ecom, he started this meeting called Weekly Wins. Some people think it's cheesy, but at the end of the day, it's every Friday, and everyone across the company can submit a win, no matter how big or how small. And with a team of 1,000, we have 1,000 in operations. You quickly become and understand how you fit in, because you start hearing these things. When I do a weekly win, we do a win, I list every engineer, every content writer, every exec, anyone that had anything to do with it. So then they quickly see, whoa, I participated and they caused this result. So then the next time we go back to the well and ask for resources, they're like, yeah, okay, you guys made me look good. This is great.
Now, I use the carrot with my SEO coffee talk, which you guys have heard me talk about before in previous presentations. So I use the carrot in the coffee talk, which is just a 10-minute conversation, one time a month, that shows the impact of SEO on said industry: marketing, operations, sales, social. And by using the carrot of, this is how SEO is impacting operations, and here's what we can do to help you improve operations, either efficiency or with reporting or with whatever, I'm baiting them to come talk to me, come join me, come see what I have. But I only touch on it lightly. And I only have to do a little bit of research with a little bit of time. We all are, smaller teams, maybe you're a team of one. So by baiting them with just a little bit of information, while they're regrouping, you can go do a little bit more homework at yourself and write a little bit more background. So when they come over to you, you can be intelligent on that carrot.
Yeah, I'll add to that too. And this is more like real-time use case. Just in the last few weeks, we're trying to create in acquisition marketing this marketing technology infrastructure. Very simply, it's three main technologies: web personalization, and CRM, and then ESP, or your email service provider. And how do you connect the three to create this sort of prospect nurture sort of engine across your customer base, so that any touch point your customers or prospects are coming in, that you can capture them, whether it be through a pixel, through an email capture, enticing them with good content, cart abandoners, stuff like that. So we had this grand idea. We're like, all right, well, we know this is the right thing to be doing, but like, how do we do it? So we decided to just take a really small use case. We work with our telesales organization, and we started to drive Salesforce leads into like an Eloqua marketing campaign where we provided like a white paper download of how to get paid on time or something like that. And the opportunity was very small in that specific use case, but once we start to see open rates from this tiny little POC, we take that to our executive team, and then we also bring, hey, here's the other 10 potential use cases, and here's the numbers, like the number potential of prospects that we could be going after if we implemented this. And that way you're not like disrupting the world with them. Like, because if you just go in hyper advocacy, they're going to get shut down. But if you're like, hey, let's do our homework, inquiry first, let's understand what, not just within SEO, but like content, like affecting multiple channels, even paid media, and just start small and then start to expand out. Last week, I presented this to the leader of small business at Intuit. And he's like, this is great. Okay, I presented him 10 additional use cases. He's like, pick two, and let's do that next. So he's keen on the idea, and you'll probably find this. Like, executives are looking for ways to grow, but there is always concern about disrupting the machine. So start small and work from there.
Yeah, I like that. I really love what you said just around around the wins, because I see this that happens at Conductor, is that we get into this machine mentality. We're just like plowing forward and we're working for the best interest of the company. But if you're not, if you have to almost keep a bank account with the people you work with, because if you keep taking but you're not giving them back either by doing something for them or giving them praise, it becomes unbalanced. It becomes really hard to drive collaboration, which is obviously a big part of the role.
And one more thing, empathy is key, because understand the underlying technology of what you can do. So don't look like a jackass going in there and say, I think we should do this awesome thing, and then not really understand how thing 2, 3, and 4 work. Do your homework, yeah.
Yeah, do your homework. I agree with that. So content people. You all have to work with, you have content people on your teams, you have to work with people who are creators of content. Content, a lot of folks in content, everyone here works with content people, are content people. Everyone, they want to preserve their integrity, they want to be very pure with information. Obviously, what we all want. What are some of the best ways that you've found to align and collaborate with content teams? Anyone want to jump at that to start?
I'll take it. So with the content teams, I've been working with you guys for 7 years now. I mean, that's a long time to be a partner of yours. So I've always built out workspaces for my content teams and doing quick stand-ups every 2 weeks by presenting them with ideas and getting on the content calendar. I know they're going to have their ways of writing. I know I don't want to disrupt their flows or even the content integrity, but I just want to suggest and show opportunity and why we need to add this additional topic this month to this editorial piece, or maybe this kind of e-newsletter is partner with them, sitting down at the table with them. I also never schedule any new meetings with them. I always join a meeting, and I always try to tack on in the middle of the meeting, so I'm not the last person to talk, but I'm not the first person to talk. I'm listening, and I'm listening on both sides, but in the middle I'm speaking, and I'm speaking with them.
Very cool, very cool. Anyone else have an interesting story?
Yeah, just try to show value. So GoDaddy, we've got a rough projection of what a page is going to make organically. You go to Keyword Planner tool and you pull as many keywords around what is WordPress hosting, and you kind of can project, these 20 to 30 terms should probably rank for this page if we do it right. And then I know my conversion rates, I know my average order size, I know that I'm not going to get all #1 rankings, so I got a blended average on position 1 through 20. And I go to the teams and say, you're looking for more money. The CEO and the CMO have set a really high bar on new customers and revenue. These pages can get you a little bit closer. They get excited because at the end of the day, they have to report on their business, domains and hosting. I get a report on SEO, but they're the ones that are really in pressure to have the big numbers. So you show them that opportunity and that you're going to help them hit their mark, they're going to join forces in a heartbeat. That's had a lot of success.
Cool.
Big carrot.
I probably don't have a great answer, just that I am the content team, but I think, but just like a quick note, SEO and content marketing together, there's a ton of synergy, and when your production team is right there with the strategists on what content we're going to do next, there's a lot of goodness that can happen there. I'm seeing a lot of content and SEO teams coming together more and more.
Cool. So let's talk about careers for a second. You guys have a career. These guys have a career. We're all career people. If someone was just getting into digital marketing, what would and they pulled you aside for 5 minutes or a minute and said, hey, I'm just starting my career. What would be one piece of advice you'd give them?
Get Google Analytics certified. Period. First thing you do when you get out of college, learn Google Tag Manager and be Google Analytics certified.
Read like crazy and test, launch your own website, use WordPress, figure it out. It's the only way. And talk to people, ask questions. I haven't really met anyone in the SEO community that I fired off a question and response was go pound sand. Usually they're willing to answer. Definitely ask and read like crazy. Trusted sources, books, you got to learn it. You don't want to make a mistake on a big website.
Yeah, I think self-teaching I agree completely. But I think the academic nature of it only takes you so far. So I would just say spin up a WordPress blog and start building content right now, and you'll start to learn the hard way. Why is my content not ranking? Suddenly I need Yoast plugin to optimize my site. Next thing I know, I'm really trying to actually solve real problems with my own site. And that's just kind of get you started. And then secondly is try to find a mentor. I think a lot of SEOs in the industry are much more willing to help others. I think we live in a much smaller, we're a small community, I would say, in the whole US, smaller than we realize. And I think there's always being able to pass down that knowledge and bounce ideas off each other, I think is really a good thing, because it also helps us to eventually weed out the bad apples in the industry, which I think we all know are still pervasive to a certain degree. So the better SEOs that mentoring each other, the better.
Look at multiple sources too. There's so many SEO forums and blogs out there, and you're going to see difference of opinion. Eventually, you're going to start figuring out who the trusted sources are, but never just go to one source, because that can lead you in hot water.
You can always ask us. I mean, we've been around for a while.
Can we all email you?
Yeah. I
All
love answering questions. I love pointing people in the right direction, or a referral or anything. And so sitting up here with these guys, I have a lot of questions about how they're building their teams and managing. So I'm going to be hitting them up on LinkedIn and connecting. And
I'm a mentor. Missi is willing to be a mentor.
I enjoy it. I agree with John. This is a small industry. We are very, very special people, and it's important for us to stay connected together because we're all going towards the same goal.
Yeah. So John, I always think about you as just you've built something pretty incredible. Not just because you're at an incredible company, but you've built this really elaborate organization in terms of you have video people, you have content teams, you have technical folks, you have engineers. I mean, was there something that happened in your? I mean, did you get what happened in your your time at Intuit in your career? What was maybe an inflection point for you that really kind of broke you out to be what you've become so far?
Well, my team grew because I had the opportunity to inherit another team, and I pushed really hard for it. It wasn't going to happen unless I made the case for it. But there was a content team in another part of the organization, and there were some things moving around, and I caught wind of it, and I was able to figure out a way to get them over to my team. So that was that step change growth within my team. And since then, I think the way that I think we have to construct our teams really mindfully, think about building out your team with creative development, strategy, growth hacker type people mentality, and if you get the right talent in the same room and constantly working together, we use Slack, Some of my team is remote. We're constantly innovating. Try to figure out a way to create your own little innovation hub within your part of the organization. So like we hear about actually Jay in one of the other panels was talking about the boulder that kind of gets in your way. Like, there's always going to be boulders, whether it be a technology boulder or somebody who just doesn't buy in. Think about how to create your own little ecosystem of success. And I don't have a whole bunch of SEOs on my team. I have like 2 senior SEOs who we distribute amongst all of our the rest of the team. The rest of the team is made up of very different skill sets. And I think when you find a way to build that team, and it could be agency too. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't have to be in-house. But finding the right people that can have the empathy for what you're trying to achieve is critical. So whatever agency you're with, make sure that you spend a lot of time with them. Almost treat them like an internal member and demand that level of service too.
And that's looking at it from the director level. If you look at it from, you're a junior marketer on a team, if you see an opportunity to partner with another person, you're building that ecosystem. You don't need leadership's permission to create a smaller level ecosystem that you, the SEO person, then work with the analytics person or that product person over there. You know, by doing that, I mean, you could really make great things happen, and then that rolls up to leadership, and they can see that.
Yeah, that's what we did at Intuit, actually. I had the opportunity to, when we built out that content hub I was referring to, it was like this little WordPress section of the website when the whole other website was Adobe Experience Manager. Because I knew I couldn't make any traction with AEM. So I was like, you know what, I can externally host a little WordPress environment, and I can brand it the way the rest of the site is. We figured out a way to actually get that hosted site onto the main website through a thing called reverse proxy. Talk to me after, I'll tell you how to do it. But it's a super cool way to like just go on your own. And once it got legs, it was like people couldn't say no to it after that. It was like, okay, this is a real thing. We have to keep this.
That's what happened at GoDaddy. They, I don't know who, and rumors are that the people that created the blog in 2014 are no longer at the company because they did go rogue with this project. Since then, it had a good owner who was mainly focused on engagement, not necessarily traffic. And now there's a new owner, Christopher Carfey, who he and I have been able to like double the traffic in about 6 months. They've expanded. I think they produce 40 to 60 articles. They're ramping up to 100 a month now. And it was such a rogue project that we didn't even have analytics tied to corporate with it. So we finally got that done, and we actually showed, hey, this makes money. So, you know, writing articles like how would I use Twitter as a small business gets customers. Because people, again, assume knowledge. When they go to search for Google, they're not going WordPress hosting, WordPress websites. They don't know that. Or VPS hosting, virtual private server hosting. I don't even know what that's used for, and I work at the company. They're looking for, how do I start a business? How do I start a blog? How do I think of blog posts to write? How do I get over writer's block? That's the content you need to produce. That's closely related to your products and offerings. And with the blog, we prove that it's worth it.
Before we move off of careers, any I know I didn't prep you with this or a lot of things, but any regrets or things you'd do differently? You know, if you can go back in time, that we can all learn from the benefit of any of your mistakes.
Be a boy toy for a rich heiress that owns a Caribbean island. Sounds pretty awesome.
That goes back to your prenatal regret.
Yeah. Love my wife, but that if she was an heiress on a Caribbean island, that'd be pretty cool.
I don't have any regrets. I have always followed my passion and my heart, and I also am not an introvert. So if I have an idea, I've led with it, but I've also supported it with data. So I don't have regrets yet. I'm very happy with what I've created myself.
So let's talk about the future. So we're 5 years from now. We're at C3 17 plus 5. So are there going to be SEO teams in 5 years from now?
Yes.
You have the answer first.
You say yes. I think SEO is always going to be a prerequisite sort of piece to, in my opinion, more geared toward omni-channel growth marketing. just because. But it's not to say that there's not going to be SEO people. There always will be. But I think that are we going to see like SEO teams in a silo? I think you're going to see less of that. I think you're going to see more SEOs doing a lot more than just SEO. So, but I think SEO is, out of all like digital marketing roles, I think SEO is best positioned in a lot of ways for like growth marketing or customer driven marketing, where because of the technology piece, where like we should be leveraging technology as much as possible to expand our program and drive ultimate revenue and goals. So SEOs are going to be firmly supplanted. There's always going to need to be an expert, but I just don't think, like a couple years ago, it was like you would have SEO teams at organizations in a silo doing their own thing, hyper-technical marketers, whereas now it's like, I ask my technical SEOs, like they have the same goal as my content marketers do. And so I just see it as much more omni-channel than anything.
I see SEO, and I mentioned it before, as the voice of the consumer. That's what SEO is. People have questions. We as marketers have answers. We need to speak with those customers and then create great things to help answer their questions, to be their voice. We need to look from the consumer's lens. SEO will always be around. It might be called something different, but I think that we should look towards the future, and SEO and consumer voice is a new kind of thing that we should adapt towards.
At the end of the day, we're educators. I don't care if it's a human algorithm or a machine-based algorithm. If you don't help the machine or the human-based algorithm understand what an image is, or what the PDF is, or what the web page is, it's not going to be found.
Google would disagree with that, though, right? They're not waiting for you to do anything to make their pictures found.
We could call anything.
We've had mistakes at the company where the target keyword on the page drops, and shocker, we drop in ranking. This is during machine learning era. At the end of the day, we educate, and whoever's quickest and easiest to learn from is going to be rewarded. I mean, that's why they have page speed.
Absolutely.
They hated the fact that it took for the pages to load. They hated the fact with all the 404 crawlers, it takes forever for you to get through the site. So whoever develops a site that is the cleanest and easiest to understand, or the video on YouTube that's easy to understand, you're going to be rewarded. So to John's point, I mean, GoDaddy's taking that step. SEO is on the content team, even though we do technical SEO for 5 or 6 different platforms. So I mean, that's the only way to go. If you can't just have SEO come in after. It's too expensive.
All right, let's talk about the Super Bowl. So let's just pretend for a moment that we're having a debate, or we're having a bake-off. And I've got $5 million to spend, and I'm either buying a Super Bowl ad or I'm going to spend it with you on your team. Make the case for why I should spend it with you. Or tell me I should do the Super Bowl commercial. Who wants to? It's a jump ball for that one. I'm making you all do it, though. I'm making you all do it. All right. You might be on the elevator one day, and you're with your CEO, and it's like, hey, John, we got $5 million. Should I give it to you? What would you do? You got to be ready for that.
It's a tough one, because you're asking. If you're asking me.
You guys don't do the Super Bowl, all right?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I wouldn't be working at GoDaddy without the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl commercials made GoDaddy. Now they started 20 years ago, so digital marketing's kind of evolved. And we took a year off and we returned this year. I saw the numbers. It paid off, but I don't know about the long-term effect of that. Whereas I've seen the potential volume of searches on, I think, a couple 100,000 terms that we just don't rank on. That you look at these terms and you go, why don't we have a piece of content out there for this? Long term, I think that play is going to pay off. But how many millions watch the Super Bowl across the world? It's a lot of exposure. So I mean, I think it's a tough question to definitively answer.
If you gave me the $5 million, I'm not going to.
So I'm spending the money on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would say I'm not going to spend the money on the Super Bowl, but can I have a year to spend it, or can I have a couple of months to spend it? Because I think as things evolve and as I show those quick wins and those little wins, I'm then going to want to maybe create a whole YouTube playlist on X, Y, and Z. But then I might want to completely reinvent our social presence. But that's not going to be seen until this is impacted from this initial impact. So if I can have a year to spend it, then that's what I'll do.
I like that.
And if you're B2B, I don't know, probably not.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a false choice, right? Because it's not about doing one or the other. It's about I wasn't saying Tide shouldn't do Super Bowl. I just said 20 million is a lot for one commercial, right? Maybe take a little bit of that.
I think you make your point, though. It's like I agree with Missi. I think there's a place for TV. You talk to any brand marketer, there is even for QuickBooks, there's a noticeable bump when we're in TV, and people are searching for your brand term, and oftentimes the conversion rates are relatively steady, and so there's sort of that lift. But like, at what cost? I think is the point you're trying to make, right? Because out of 5 million, if we could do 4 on TV and give us $1 million to just expand on what we do, like that's really where the value is
I was reading something like the first thing that an active consumer does when they watch a commercial is they go look for something, right? So at least make sure that when you think, if anyone remembers, there was a guy that was at a conference years ago remember Affordable Disney? He was an affiliate, so Disney was spending all this money on commercials for Affordable Disney, and he showed up number 1 for Affordable Disney. And this guy was I think it was at PubCon, and this was many years ago. This is a scrappy affiliate marketer, like probably home in his underwear, and he was making millions of dollars by just basically riding the tails of Disney's TV commercials. So we can't let that happen. So let's. I think we have a couple more minutes, and I'd love to. Are we going to take questions from the audience? I see some people mobilizing microphones there. Great opportunity to ask some questions to these folks here. Any questions from the audience? I got a hand raiser over here. Got a microphone over there. You want to yell it out, and I'll.
How do you guys evaluate people for hiring for your team? What sort of soft qualities do you look for?
How do you get a job at your company? How do you hire? Tell us how you do it.
Fire.
What?
I love people with fire. As marketers,
No wonder everybody goes to her desk all the time.
come on over. As marketers, have you ever noticed that when you talk about what you do for a living, you have this fire in yourself and you get really excited about it, like I do when I talk about SEO? And my husband thinks I'm a total geek. But I look for that fire in someone when they answer a question about something. And it could just be, tell me about your favorite pair of shoes, or do you have a dog? And that person answers it. And if they get that fire, that passion, that's the kind of person that's going to commit to a mission, to a greater something. That's what I look for.
Yeah, definitely need that, and you need to know what you're doing. At the agency, we made a bad hire. He talked a good talk. I did not go over technical SEO with him in his in-person interview, and the guy didn't know a bloody thing. After that, my boss Steve Hall and my colleague Pete Quinlan, they did the can I go to have a beer with you, and can you speak and talk to clients. I literally, first thing I did was turn off the lights, hit the whiteboard with a projector, and put up source code. And you had 2 reactions. One was, flushed face that you could see in the darkness, and this complete and total panic. And I knew right away, you're not making it. And then the other ones that would lean forward, and it's like, okay, what do you see here that you like or don't like, or is there nothing at all? Especially with SEO at global brands, if you don't have the technical chops, learn it, because you're not going to get hired, at least not on my team.
I'll just add 2 quick things. I know we're short on time. Just building on that is what most people can answer the first layer of questions in an interview. If whatever your question you're asking, go 2 levels deeper to really find out where they stand. Most people can get that first level by just researching for a week before the interview. But and then number 2 is I've had people who know their shit like the back of their hand, but have 0 empathy or humility. And so I that is if you have if you could be the best SEO in the world with the best reputation, but if you come in and you can't answer the question of hey, what is your opportunity? What are you working on? What would your boss tell me right now that you need to work on the most? If you can't answer that question with humility, not going to work.
Awesome. I think we have one more question.
So you just talked about hiring. What about retention? I feel like when you have a really awesome SEO team, for your feedback, you're doing the work, your source code, you're going after them. What are your
So how do you retain great people?
That's a hard one.
I
'Cause
try
I live
to
in the
be-
Bay Area, and it's like hyper competitive, and
Everybody wants to work for you.
it's just like, yeah, it's insane. I don't know. You create a company culture, create a culture where you're fostering their own growth.
Yep.
Like we have monthly check-ins with my team where I'm constantly saying, hey, I'm not only invested in like the outcomes that which we expect of you in this role, but like I'm also invested in your own professional development. So like, what are the 3 things you're personally or professionally trying to work on? What are you trying to develop, like that softer side? And like if they know that you're invested in them rather than just doing a job, and like that I've kept people that way, just creating that relationship.
I've said the same thing, that I want any of my team members, I want to help build their personal brand. I want them to be great at what they do, great about their passion, but I want to help build their personal brand. So I've always done the one-on-ones, just a quick stand-up, and I also do the monthly check-ins. I also do end-of-year goals as far as achievements, conference attendance, writing, whatever. We always establish these goals ahead of time. So.
Yeah, company culture, I think, is number one. Like I said, I was at Microsoft. You've got some people that don't understand anything outside of Redmond. They just think it's Microsoft, Microsoft, Microsoft. I never drank that Kool-Aid because I just couldn't see proof of concept. At an agency I was at before, they've said a lot of things and never delivered. GoDaddy, they're nuts. I mean, it's joining forces. If you're a kid in a sandbox that doesn't play well with others, you're not going to last there. And that impacts. I mean, I keep seeing these announcements in the email thread like, hey, welcome, so-and-so's had 10 years, 15-year anniversary. I haven't seen that at many companies, so I think culture is really where it's at. Do you like coming to work and working with people? And from the top down, is your exec core, are they nice? Are they transparent? So if you don't have that, then it's a little difficult for you.
You guys hiring?
Yes, actually, I'm opening up a rec. I should do that probably tonight.
I just moved to Florida 60 days ago, so I'm hiring if you want to move.
I'll work for you, Missi.
I have no open roles, but I want to connect with people all the time.
Okay,
So
how
you
do
never know what's
we
gonna
get
come
in touch with you guys? We'll see you tonight.
Buy me a
Okay.
drink.
Tonight, yeah,
I like
no.
martinis.
Hit me up on
So,
LinkedIn too.
It's only
LinkedIn.
200 people.
Give it
out
up for
there.
these guys. I changed a whole bunch of the questions right before we went on here. You guys did fantastic. So let's have a good time. I think 5:30 we're meeting at the Copacabana.
Thank you.
So let's do it.